everyone. So with the recent announcements with us releasing a video podcast as well as my video, basically saying, hey, I'm back and this and that, I wanted to kind of make an extension video regarding where I left off with basically the first video I ever made on the channel, which is, where the whole reason why I'm actually continuing, you know, all of this is because of the reaction I got from that first video. And it's really funny. That first video was shot basically in a very high anxiety state. Me just basically impulsively sticking a phone, in front of a candle and filming my thoughts and letting it out there. I had no intentions with it. I didn't really know how many people out there were going to resonate with it. Although I had a bit of a feeling that that I might have a couple other people who have a similar story. I just didn't realize the magnitude of the number of individuals that were out there facing the same issues. So that was August 2018. August 2018, I left medical school, which was probably one of the toughest decisions of my life, only because, actually, ironically, it was one of the easiest because I really did know it wasn't the right choice for me. But it was also at the same time the hardest, only because I knew the people connected to me at that point, their disappointment, in the sense that I was basically there. I did all the hard work. I did everything that I needed to do to basically have a stable life, stable career, all that's fun stuff that everyone aims for, but it wasn't what I wanted. So in that sense, it was a very easy, simple decision, but the process was one that was very turbulent and difficult. And it's funny, the main reasons as to why that isn't because of myself or the people who are faced similar issues. It's not because of them. It's actually because of the people connected to them in that situation. It's always external. It's always a mom, dad, grandma, friend, teacher, something along those lines. Someone who pushed you and you care about them, you love them, you don't want to disappoint them. It's always that. One of the best pieces of advice I actually got from someone at the school when I left was, talk to someone, but when you talk to them, because you care about them so deeply, you're not going to be honest. So instead of doing that, do it privately. Just record it and then give it to them, basically as a gift, as an answer to, this is what I'm thinking, this is what's on my mind. That's what I did. But instead of giving it just to them, I posted it publicly. And here we are now. That was the best piece of advice I could have gotten, because once it was out there, I felt freed by the burden of having it on my chest, and the ability to help other people with a similar story was just so powerful for me, and it really brought me to this place now. Literally, close to 2 years later. Actually, 2 years later. Literally 2 years later. August 2018, past 2 years now. So that's a. It actually kind of feels surreal that it's been that long. 2 years feels like forever to me now. So much has happened, good and bad, that I don't know, that thinking of that video 2 years ago, it just feels surreal. I just can't put into words like how easy it actually is to pursue happiness. So many people, in the same position I was in, I talked to so many people that were in the same position I was in, a decade before, 2 decades before, and now they're, doing whatever they're doing, and they say, hey, I do regret not making that decision or pushing it a bit further and maybe chasing, what was in my heart. And regret is just something that I didn't want to have on my shoulders. Regret is one of those things where you can't do anything at that point. 20, 30 years down the line, life is about timing. You have to make decisions during a certain time. And I am just so blessed that, I met the right people. I took the right steps, I guess, on my own end to make this decision as early as I could for me. And I could have made it even earlier, to be honest, but to make it early enough where I didn't get too caught up in, everything else, the practicalities of the situation, such as, for example, I get a lot of messages saying that, hey, were you in the middle of your first year? Were you at the end of your first year, end of your second year? And I was like, no, I was at the very, very start. I literally went to med school for 1 week. At the end of the 7 days, I left. I bounced quickly. So, having said that, if I would have stayed there for a year, 2 years, 3 years, having that amass a bunch of debt and been even further along in the process of chasing that goal, even though it wasn't my goal, I don't think, that would have made taking a decision or jumping ship so much harder, so much more difficult. Which is why I always tell people, just be honest and be transparent with whoever you need to be, whoever's holding you back from that decision or whatever you want to do and need to do. Have that honest conversation with them, because it's the only way forward. Now, fast tracking now, and the reason I'm making this video is because I've gotten a lot of updates about, or not updates, but I've gotten a lot of people asking me for an update, saying, hey, what's happened within this time period? We don't have an update. We don't have any information. Are you dead? Are you are you back in med school? What are you doing exactly? Like, what's happening in life? I saw a couple of really funny comments and emails actually saying that, oh, he's in retail now, or he's in this and that. And I am not in retail. I am not back in medical school. I am not dead. I am, I started a fashion company back in 2018, right when I left med school. Basically, it's done pretty well. And from the back of that, I also had started before then. I was doing some marketing work, consulting work for different brands and companies, and that turned into Ish & Company, which is basically a creative marketing agency which specializes with working with health conscious, environmentally conscious, and socially conscious brands or companies. That has basically taken over my entire young adult life, really, at this point. And I love it. I really do enjoy it. I work with brands that are really making an impact, doing the right things, etc. And I get to carry, a bit of that health background that I amassed, through my studies and things that I was actually interested in. And people always get this confused, and I see same thing in the comments all the time, and the emails I get all the time. Look, we're really interested in school, and we're really good at biology and science and chemistry and all this. That doesn't mean you will be happy becoming XYZ professional, though. That doesn't mean you'll be happy being a nurse or a doctor or a radiologist, whatever it may be. It doesn't work that way. I think a lot of people, especially in certain cultures, get pushed into this ideology that if you're good at school, if you're good at this, then pursue certain high income careers that can get you stabilized and you can leverage, that studious background of yours. I think it's just such a big mistake. I really do think so, because I hate blood, right? I hate patients. I don't like patients. I don't like sick people. So I don't want to be around them. I don't want to learn about. I basically like science because it could of the part of science which could elevate society. I wanted to learn how I could elevate my body, not in the sense that how to fix someone who's terribly broken, if that makes sense. And I just didn't want to be around that in order to care about pursuing that. So that just goes to show that it's not as simple as good grades and this and that. We all have that. Every med student who gets accepted is a phenomenal student. We're all type A, crazy, motivated individuals. That's the only way you get there. I think the acceptance rate of med students across the country is like 1 or 2%. So it's not that. We're all smart. We're all capable. However, if you look at the amount of doctors, residents, med students especially, who are depressed, dealing with mental illness, etc., it's abnormally high. And same thing with a few other high income careers, because people get into these fields because they think they're going to make a lot of money very quickly, or not very quickly, but they'll make a lot of money eventually. And that's why they get into it. And it's not that simple. I can tell you today, and I don't say this in a braggadocious way, at the age of 25, I've matched, what an average physician, the physician I was trying to become, a family physician, would have made. Again, I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I say that only in the sense that there are other avenues. There's other avenues. If you take some time and figure it out, you don't need to be pigeonholed into certain options just because how am I going to hit 150K, or how am I going to hit 78K, or how am I going to hit 380K? These numbers are arbitrary, and it's really dumb as well. Like, why are we even talking about these numbers when you were 22, 23, 24, 25 years old? It's just arbitrary, and you don't even know. The happiest people I know in my life are making, not that much, basically. And that's not to say less money equals more happiness. It's just to say that it's not everything. And don't get me wrong, I love money. I love money. It's the reason I went into business. But it's not everything. And there's so many ways of getting cash, getting money, and being successful versus, it's like, other than like following a path, searching on Google top 10 highest paying careers on Google, then pursuing a major that will get you there, and then doing that thing, and then getting 2-3 years into it and feeling like, oh man, I don't really like this anymore. Well, what did you expect? You know what I mean? Like, you got to do what you want to do, and the world will be a better place if you do what you want to do. At the end of the day, like, if you do the things that you're passionate about, I think you do get those right results. And I've made mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake with this. Like, even after I left medical school, I started, like I said, a fashion company. Now, I will not lie to you. I am not a fashion guru or someone who likes stitching or any of that stuff. I just like business, and I went into it because I think it was a good opportunity. I enjoyed the project. I loved what we were doing. By the way, I'll link all that information about that company down below if you guys are interested. Most of you guys, I believe, already know about it. But that just goes to show, like, I jumped into a lot of things that probably I shouldn't have that early, only because I wanted to get going. I wanted to do it. I felt like the next right step. And this idea of the next right step is so dangerous. You graduate high school, and the next right step is to go to college, and the next right step is to pick a major, and the next right step is to pick a major that will get you a certain career, and the next step is to graduate, find that job, get married, have kids, and so on, 401k, and retire, right? I've never looked at life that way. And I sometimes I have this weird feeling in my head that, am I crazy, or is everyone else crazy? And the more people I talk to like myself, I feel less and less crazy. The more people I talk to that have gone through, I guess, I wouldn't say a path less traveled, because that sounds so cringy, but a path that's different than most. And I hear the stories, and they're all the same. Hey, it was really scary in the beginning. We were super, super terrified, and it wasn't easy, but it's worth it, and it makes so much sense now. And they all say the same thing in the sense that they were told they're crazy. That you're going to be told, if you listen to anything I say, you're going to be told you're crazy. I was told I was crazy many, many times before I saw any success with what I was doing. And that's just part of it. That's just part of it. You're gonna have to deal with that. There's no way around it. So that's that. Now, getting back to the main point of this specific video is that you guys wanted an update. What happened August 2018? I left medical school. I started applying to jobs like a madman because I wanted to just make money very quickly and stabilize myself while pursuing both my fashion company at the time as well as a couple of random e-commerce stores I was running and I was doing marketing, freelancing work at that time. I had this really, really stupid consulting company called Quick Chirp. And I say it was stupid because it was very not well thought out, I would say. So, but I learned a lot from that experience, and I had great clients with that as well. But out of all that, at the end of 2018, by the way, this is all of 2018. So 2018 flew by like that. In 2018, I dealt with a lot of crap from family, friends, teachers, etc., saying that I am making the wrong decisions, go back, maybe rethink this, etc. The medical school that I left actually was still actually trying to keep me because I was, not only did I make it to medical school, I made it to a program, one of 3 programs in the country that would allow you to finish medical school in 3 years versus 4. So not only did I have a great entry into this really highly competitive career, I had an entry into a program that literally would fast track everything for me. So it was a decision that didn't make much sense for them, and I was like I was one of 8 people in the program at that school, so they really wanted to keep me. So even several months down the road, they were like, "Hey, you want to come back? Hey, you want to come back?" I was always like, "No, I don't want to come back. I really don't want to come back." And even now thinking about it, I think like I was like, wow, that was a move by me because I had nothing at that point. Really, I just genuinely didn't have anything. So I was really on a shoestring budget at the time, and this is just a year and a half ago, I would say. Really shoestring budget. I was working on multiple projects at one time like an idiot. As well as applying to jobs and stuff like that, which was stupid because I am not the type of person to really jump in. I don't think I will have a job ever, really, to be honest with you guys. And by the way, some people, my background. A lot of people ask me this when I say stuff like that: am I anti establishment or anti-employment or anti-job? I'm not at all. I'm just pro happiness. I think you guys, people should do what gives them the most happiness, whether that be a 9-to-5 job, waitressing at a restaurant, or a high corporate level job in Wall Street. I have friends in both spectrums, right? And I have friends that are also fantastically successful entrepreneurs who are also miserable. So I'm just pro happiness. Whatever brings you happiness is what I want to promote, and that's what brings me happiness is being able to pursue something that I truly want and I believe in. And I feel like I'm either at that point or I'm very, very close to that point. So, and when I made the first initial video, I was obviously just saying, hey, I'm going to document, I'm going to show you guys the process, etc. And I didn't do any of that, and I really regret that. However, you guys are now looking at more of the finished, polished product 2 years down the road, which I think is still really insightful. And now that I've gotten to this point, I want to kind of bring on more and more people to talk about their stories, hence the podcast. But anyway, getting back on track. By the time 2019 hit, January 2019, I was still juggling my fashion business as well as applying to jobs and this and that. So I actually gave up on applying to jobs probably around February, not because I was getting a lot of interviews and stuff like that. I just found it as a waste of time at that point because I was making decent money at that point doing consulting work, marketing consulting, as well as my fashion business was taking over my life at that point, regrettingly so, I have to say. But not because I didn't love it, by the way. It's just that I was just dealing with too much at the time. So it was just too much going on. But anyway, So my fashion company basically took over my life for around, I would say 6 to 12 months after that. So fast forwarding again, January 2019 to late 2019. At this point, I started Ishin Company, which was my creative agency, marketing company, focusing again, like I said, health and socially conscious brands. This is what really changed everything for me because I fell back in love with science. I fell back in love with everything I learned about in school. And I started consulting and working with brands and individuals and amazing people who were in the space trying to change society for good, whether that be skincare products that are made in with the utmost standards and for specific people. It was just like, it was just wonderful. I work with companies like that. I work with nonprofits. I work with this amazing nonprofit trying to take care of women in Haiti that couldn't afford you know care post delivery, etc. These experiences, I'll never forget them. It brought me to get very close to a city I basically feel at home now, really, which is New York City. I've done so much work there since I started Ishin Company, it would have never happened if I didn't make that jump. That was amazing. But having said that, that's very recent. So let's look at the timeline, right? August 2018, I left medical school. I basically crapped away August 2018 to January 2019. January 2019 to late 2019, I was working on my fashion company. Still, throughout this process, relatively content, but unhappy at the same time, only in the sense that I still hadn't found it. I hadn't found my thing, and also I wasn't satisfied with basically the monetary success of it all. Like there was a big chip on my shoulder, and in the sense that I had this secure, high-paying career ahead of me, and I just wanted to match that. And I just wanted to show the people, kind of rub it in their faces, right? Like, oh, I did it, and look, I'm making this and this, and I made the right decision, right, guys? Right? I made the right decision, right? And I got caught up in that. And that was a big mistake. I regret that. However, part of that drove me to the place I am now, because I am basically at that place now. And I'm not gonna lie, it does feel good, but the satisfaction of saying, look, I was right, is not nearly as rewarding as the satisfaction of just being happy. Yeah, it's not nearly the same. So, and I compare now at 25, what I have now compared to what I would have had if I just stayed on course in medical school, what I would have had probably 29, 30, 31, then I'm just so happy I made the decision I did make, because it was at the time the most ludicrous, stupid decision of all time. And now it makes sense both practically and emotionally at the time where it only made sense emotionally. So that is satisfying, and I think that's important to know. However, I also think it's really important to note just how long it took. Again, the timeline. August 2018, I left medical school. I didn't find that point of pure, happiness until very recently, maybe a couple months, maybe, I don't know. But early, or no, we're into what is this now? Are we into mid 2020? What are we into? Yeah, so mid 2020, early to mid 2020, I guess, is where I kind of felt normal and content and happy again. So it's just so important to keep perspective. Because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. It's not going to be anything you ever expect it to be. it's going to be challenging. Everything is hard. Anything worth having is difficult. Anything that you imagine yourself wanting, or you look at other people, especially, right? You look at celebrities and these people you see on Instagram showing off mostly their fake lives, but what can I say? Even the parts of that are real take a lot of time and effort, and it's never as simple as just making this decision of going after. There's a lot of steps you need to take. There's a ton of steps that you need to take to actually get to that point, and you might change your mind 27 times, you might change your mind once or twice, you might stay on the straight and narrow, but regardless of what you do, you're going to run into some issues. You're going to run into some problems, and when you run into those problems, the only way you get through them is remembering why you're chasing them. And that is the most important thing. Why the hell are you chasing anything? Why did I chase going to medical school? I like science, I did this and that, but really it was kind of fraudulent what I was doing. I didn't really want it. I was just and when things got hard and when I started second guessing myself, I was out. I bailed. I copped out. I tapped out very quickly. I said no to all of that because I didn't want it anymore. I actually never wanted it, to be honest. So the only reason I was there was for the wrong reasons, making other people happy, chasing things that I thought I wanted, but really just wanted because I saw other people wanting them, or having them. It's just such a messed up system we have going on here nowadays. But going back to the timeline, now I'm here. It's 2020. The world is melting around us at all different directions, but I'm feeling relatively content. And the biggest thing is, look, my family was really unhappy, my friends were really unhappy, my teachers were unhappy, but they're all alive, they're doing well, they're happy for me, they still love me, I love them too. And that's the biggest message I want you guys to take of that. Would you rather deal with the short-term pain, being honest with those 3-4 people in your lives that are really genuinely unhappy with you because you're trying to make this rough decision, or do you want to just swallow up your pride and go for it, and be, unhappy with them, having this weird resentment with them for, several years to come? Which one do you want? Which one do you want? Do you want that short-term pain of being honest with them and them being pissed at you for 3 or 4 days, maybe a few weeks at most, right? What are they going to do? Stop talking to you? So, which one do you want? Like, just be honest with them early on. Talk it through with those few people that are really holding you back, and get through it, make the decision, and move on. Because you don't want to be 47 and 58 and 63 and 77 and thinking like, Aunt Sally really messed me up. Mrs. Brown in elementary school, who told me I would amount to nothing unless I became this or that, really messed me up. I got to prove her wrong. Don't let that happen to you. Please don't let that happen to you. Don't grow old with that resentment for other people because they held you back from making the decisions you want to take. Here we are now, 2020. You have your update. You guys can stop emailing me and messaging me now. I've recorded an entire video with an update from 2018 to the current present time. It has been an amazing, long, turbulent journey. It continues to get more and more turbulent and fun as we move on. I have nothing but gratitude in my heart, genuinely. I have nothing but sincere happiness, honestly. Even though I have issues and I have concerns and I have so much going on at one time, and like I said, even in this present moment, the world is continuing to bleed and melt around us. However, I just feel that, I can deal with whatever comes my way now. Dealt with a lot of bad stuff, and we're ready to move on. We're ready to go. Like I said, I am starting a video podcast on this channel, uncut, unfiltered, with people that I feel are much cooler and awesome more awesome than me. I was almost going to say awesomer. Thank God I didn't say that. So I can't wait to have them on. I can't wait to showcase their stories, have more and more people resonate to what we're trying to push here as a message, which is happiness. I just want to push people to make decisions that end in a more joyous, peaceful, happy life. Yeah, that's what I want to do. That's the whole point of this project. It's not to make money. It's not to do XYZ other crazy things. It's just to provide value to you guys, build a community, and help each other as best as we can. If you guys look at my very first video, my little trashy first video that I shot on a little iPhone and a stand powered by a candle, I said the same thing. I just want to help people in a similar position, a similar predicament as I was in, and go from there. And I'm also trying to have as much fun as I can on this, to be honest. Like, I'm bringing some amazing guests, and I can't wait to have a good time, have good conversation, and provide value at the very same time. I cannot wait. So once every week, guys, it will be on this channel, uncut, unfiltered. You guys have that to look forward to. I urge you to join, regardless of where you are in your life right now, what direction you're taking, what decisions you need to make, whoever's holding you back, whatever's going on. Sincerely, I think this is going to be one of the most valuable segments and podcasts that are going to be put out, because it's real people talking about real issues. We don't filter anything. We don't cut anything. There's no editing. It's all unscripted. And I do believe it's going to be of really high value for you all. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me for this long, for no really good reason. I've been missing for about 1.5 years, 2 years. So you had no reason to stick along. But I appreciate every one of you guys. And I'll see you once a week. Take care.